This story started with a big fight. Chris, the bossy leader of the team, told Lewin, our protagonist, to leave the group right away. Chris said there was no room in the team for someone who wasn't strong and was completely useless. Mia, the only girl in the group and someone Lewin used to think was his close friend, sided with Chris. Mia pointed out that Lewin was supposed to be a monster tamer, but he had never even tamed a tiny slime. Lewin was shocked. He couldn't speak. He had grown up with these people. He had trusted them, and now they were turning against him. It hurt more than getting stabbed with a sword. When Lewin finally gathered enough strength to speak, he admitted his shortcomings, but insisted he'd been training relentlessly to improve. Before he could finish, Chris interrupted him. Chris said everyone else in the group had a clear ability, but Lewin had no ability and was just holding them back. Lewin tried to explain that he was close to getting his power. Lewin further explained that he had recently fulfilled one of the conditions necessary to level up into a high-class role. But Mia rolled her eyes and said Lewin always made silly excuses. Mia said Lewin had to tame many monsters to reach that level, which was impossible for someone who couldn't even tame a bug. Chris was curious when he heard Lewin mention a second condition. He asked Lewin what the second condition was. When Lewin hesitated, unable to give a precise answer, Chris ordered him to check his oracle. Lewin opened it, and according to his oracle, his power would only unlock after he met a certain kind of monster. When Chris asked where and when that monster would appear, Lewin didn't know, which infuriated him. Chris, even though they were childhood friends, angrily said he was disappointed in Lewin. When Lewin pointed out that Chris was just kicking him out because the group was about to be promoted to hero rank, Chris didn't deny it. Chris declared he was the chosen one and took all the credit for the team's victories. Lewin tried to remind them that they had won because they worked together. But Mia interrupted again and said it was only because of Chris. Then Chris explained that to become a hero group, everyone had to be a rank or higher. Chris was already an S rank, but Lewin was just B rank, 2 whole levels below and completely disqualified. Chris made it clear. No more chances. Lewin had to leave. He said they couldn't keep a dead weight who slowed them down. Lewin, still shocked, reminded Chris and Mia about the promise they made as kids, to travel together and bring peace. But Chris responded coldly, stating that even though they had made such promise, everyone else had leveled up, while Lewin had failed to live up to the expectation. Lewin asked if everyone in the group wanted him gone. Chris, with his arm around Mia, said yes. It was a team decision. 2 weeks later, Lewin sat alone in a bar, drinking. He was no longer the happy adventurer he used to be. He was tired and sad. Around him, people talked about something scary. A new demon king had appeared, and monsters were going wild. Cities were getting attacked. Towns were being destroyed. Long ago, the goddess Alfira had made both spirits and demons to live in the world. But the demons got greedy and started wars. To save the world, Alfira locked many demons away and made humans instead. The demons that were left behind got jealous and began attacking humans. To stop them, the goddess gave special powers to some humans. These humans became heroes. Lewin always looked up to heroes. He dreamed of being one. But now, that dream felt far away. Still, while eating the same beef stew he once shared with his old friends, something inside him started to burn again. Maybe, just maybe, he could still level up. The oracle had said he needed to find a special monster. So Lewin started taking monster taming jobs from the Adventurer Guild. His goal was simple. Find the monster that would unlock his power. But life had other plans. On his very first mission, something terrible happened. Demons suddenly attacked the town. People screamed. Buildings burned. Lewin ran toward the danger, thinking he'd fight small monsters. Instead, what he found was a nightmare. Demons rampaging, townsfolk screaming, and a wyvern orchestrating the destruction. The wyvern threw fireballs at people. Lewin froze in fear. But when the wyvern grabbed a little boy, Lewin jumped into action. He saved the boy and made the wyvern angry. The wyvern called in 3 more wyverns. They all started shooting fire, but Lewin dodged and used his sword to take down one of the wyverns with a single sword strike. Seeing this, the rest of the wyverns hesitated and were shocked that Lewin had taken down one of them with a single blow. But Lewin didn't stop there. He spotted a bow and a quiver filled with arrows which he grabbed. Then, he launched an air attack against the flying wyverns, and fired with Robin Hood accuracy, striking another wyvern clean in the eye mid-fall. The remaining demons retreated, realizing they had underestimated their opponent. But before leaving, the lead wyvern issued a cryptic warning. that the attack on the town was merely a distraction, and their main concern was finding the castle. The wyvern also promised to get revenge before finally departing with the rest. That detail clung to Luin's thoughts. This made Luin begin to wonder why the demons would prioritize finding the castle over destroying the town. If it was because of some ancient weapon, or anything that could increase the demons' overall power, Luin knew the demons mustn't lay their hands on it, or else the town would be in danger. Luin might not be a hero, but the last thing he wanted was to see innocent people die mercilessly at the hands of the demons. Hours later, Luin followed his gut and went to the forest, trying to find the castle before the demons did. As he walked through the rough woods, he tripped and fell down a hidden slope. Bruised but alive, Luin looked up and saw it. A colossal, ruined castle, steeped in darkness. Cautiously, Luin stepped inside the castle. Inside, the castle was silent. Dust danced in the stale air. The ruins whispered of long-forgotten history, making him wonder who might have lived in the castle before all the wreckage. As he opened the castle door, he noticed a shadowy corridor. Through the corridor, he discovered an underground passage leading to a vast ballroom, with its far end glowing with a soft green light. Curious, Luin moved to check the light. When he got close, he saw a big green crystal. Inside the crystal was a girl, trapped in chains. Luin was scared. Luin fearfully wondered who the girl was and why was she trapped inside the crystal. Most importantly, he questioned if the chains around the crystal was more like a seal, to seal the girl from getting out. Curiosity got the better of him, and he placed his hand on the crystal. Just as Luin's hand touched the crystal, it instantly started to emit a bright light. At that instant, his oracle system popped up and said the two conditions had been met: taming 1,000 monsters and meeting the Demon King. As Luin stood there in shock, wondering if the girl inside the crystal was the Demon King, the system announced that his Monster Tamer class had upgraded to Demon King Tamer, shocking him. Before Luin could make sense of what was going on, the system asked if he wanted to use his new skill. Not stopping there, amidst a very bright light, the system informed him that to execute the skill, all obstacles needed to be removed. Suddenly, the mysterious girl inside the crystal came out of the crystal. When she was finally out by some telekinetic power, she landed on top of Luin. The system chimed in almost immediately, announcing that the situation had been resolved, and then asked Luin again if he wanted to use his new skill. However, before Luin could respond, the mysterious girl suddenly opened her eyes and asked if he was the one that broke the annoying hero seal. Luin nervously ignored her question and demanded to know if she was the Demon King. The girl admitted she was, and then introduced herself as Sasha, the leader of the demons, aka the Demon King of Death. Luin was dumbfounded. He had expected a monstrous tyrant, not some chick with a flat chest. When Luin admitted his disbelief, explaining that he just became a Demon King Tamer, but he had never expected that the mighty Demon King was some little girl. Sasha could not believe what she had just heard and asked Luin to repeat himself. Before Luin could even say a word, Sasha flew into a rage. Sasha accused Luin of hiding his intentions and attacked. But Luin stepped to the side and she tumbled to the ground. When Luin asked why she wanted to hurt the person who saved her, Sasha said demon tamers were evil and must die. To carry out the threat, Sasha started invoking her power of destruction, and soon the whole place was filled with mystic smoke. Following that, she summoned a black fire capable of incinerating everything in its path. Just as she hurled it at Luin, asking him to die twice, the system asked again if Luin wished to use his new skill. At that instant, Luin's brain cells finally clicked, and he realized that truly he was the ultimate Demon King Tamer. This meant he could tame the Demon King, Sasha, with his newly acquired skills. Wasting no time, Luin said yes to the skill. A magic collar appeared instantly and flew towards Sasha. Sasha tried to run, but the collar went right through her fire and locked around her neck. At that moment, Luin's system confirmed that his skill had been used and Sasha was now his subordinate. Luin stared at the slave collar on Sasha's neck in disbelief. He could not believe he had really tamed the mighty Demon King. Sasha, on the other hand, was furious and demanded to know why he had chosen to tame her of all beings. Nevertheless, she stubbornly swore to never submit to him. When Luin nervously asked if she knew what a Demon King Tamer was, Sasha annoyingly replied that she does. Sasha informed Luin that he was just like the last Demon Tamer, a lowly, power-hungry worm who exploited others like slaves and used them for his own selfish desires. Luin tried insisting he was different, but Sasha wasn't convinced. She summoned more fire and screamed for him to break the bond. Luin was scared at first, but when he remembered he had already tamed her, He summoned courage and gave his first command, asking Sasha to stay down. Sasha froze and uncontrollably dropped to her knees. This made Lewin proud of himself. When Sasha tried getting up, Lewin commanded her to remain down and her body had no choice but to remain pinned to the ground. But suddenly at that moment, the ground shook. From the entrance, demons, wyverns, and a towering ogre stormed into the room. Leading them was the same wyvern Lewin had fought earlier. The wyvern mocked Lewin, calling him Mr. No Skills, and demanded to know what the heck he was doing in the castle. Lewin ignored the mockery and demanded to know if the wyvern and his minions had come to rescue their demon king. The wyvern laughed darkly and replied that it was obvious. The wyvern made it known that they had not just come to rescue the demon king, but to also awaken all demons' kings. Lewin's blood ran cold hearing this. Before he could speak, Sasha interrupted. She commended the demons' excellent work, and then instantly commanded them to finish Lewin off. She also instructed them to dispose Lewin's corpse where no one will ever find it. The demons wasted no time and started advancing towards Lewin, making Lewin a bit frightened considering their overwhelming size. Sasha was still stuck on the ground like a helpless puppy. She told the other demons that Lewin wasn't just any demon tamer. He was a special kind called a demon king tamer. That meant he couldn't control regular demons like them, so they were free to attack. But when the demons saw how weak and helpless Sasha looked, they started to wonder if she was even a real demon king at all. The leading wyvern, in particular, pointed out that the Sasha he remembered was supposed to be the most powerful demon king, not the weakling lying on the ground. Sasha tried really hard to explain that her pride and powers were taken away. But the demons didn't believe her. They thought they made a mistake and said she must be a fake. The wyvern leader even shouted that she wasn't the real Sasha. That made Sasha really angry. She looked at Lewin and yelled at him to destroy all the freaking demons for her. Lewin was surprised. He reminded her that she had told the demons to eliminate him first. But Sasha shouted back that anyone who called her fake literally deserved to be sent to the Shadow Realm. Just then, the wyverns, growing impatient, decided to put Sasha's situation on hold and focus on dealing with Lewin for the time being. Realizing he was their primary target, Lewin prepared himself. Suddenly, his oracle chimed in, informing him that to use his special skill, he had to say a magic chant in a certain language. In that tense moment, the oracle suggested that, for starters, Lewin could awaken his demon armor. With the demons getting closer every second, Lewin quickly shouted the chant and told the oracle to awaken his armor. Right away, the oracle said the skill was activated. A black wind began spinning around him. The oracle also said that Lewin could use Sasha's power to make powerful gear filled with destructive energy. Lewin didn't waste time. He used Sasha's power to make a weapon called the Blade of Rupture. When the demons saw Lewin holding the strange blade, they paused for a second, wondering what it was. But then they ignored it and charged at him again. Lewin, however, stood tall. As the demons charged toward him, he swung the Blade of Rupture. With each swing, the demons realized they were losing their authority, a kind of special demon power. Moreover, with every authority they lost, Lewin's blade grew larger. Relentlessly, Lewin continued to swing his mighty blade, and soon the demons found themselves unable to move an inch, their feet frozen to the ground. Seizing the opportunity, Lewin sliced through them effortlessly. When he slashed the mighty ogre in two, Sasha smiled, clearly impressed. The Blade of Rupture, a special demonic weapon, nullified the demons' authority and absorbed their dark power. With each power it absorbed, the blade doubled in size. Armed with this formidable weapon, Lewin defeated the demons one by one. The last wyvern, the boastful leader, attempted to flee. This time, however, Lewin noticed him. Immediately, the wyvern began begging for mercy. When Lewin coldly demanded to know why he should spare him after he had taken the lives of innocent villagers, the wyvern claimed he was different from the other demons. The wyvern explained that he was forced to join the group by the demon king's followers. They had threatened to hurt him and his family if he didn't obey. At first, Lewin thought he was capping. But the wyvern promised he was telling the truth. He even said some demons just wanted to live in peace without fighting. Lewin asked if all the demons attacking humans were working with the current demon king. The wyvern said yes. The wyvern also said the demon king and his team planned to make all humans into slaves. Furthermore, he told Lewin about some other demons who lived quietly in a forest, trying to stay away from war. After hearing everything, Lewin was convinced. He let the wyvern go and told him to leave. But this made Sasha pissed. She looked surprised that Lewin showed mercy. Then Lewin remembered that Sasha was still under his control because of the bond. So he released her. Sasha got up from the ground, and as she walked over to Lewin, she demanded to know why he had refused to take the life of the wyvern. Lewin explained that the reason was that it reminded him of a human begging a demon not to hurt them. Lewin also explained that humans had always been lied to. People were told that demons were heartless beasts, creatures driven by power to oppress humanity. People were also warned never to negotiate with demons, but to wipe them all out whenever possible. But Lewin said all of those things were lies that humans were forced to believe. As Sasha listened carefully, Lewin said that not all demons were the same. To illustrate his point, he told a story about a researcher who met a group of demons in the mountains. But instead of attacking, those demons ran away because they were scared. Lewin added that he believed the wyvern he spared was one of such demons, scared of humans and just want to live peacefully. Sasha interrupted, asking if Lewin had ever harmed a defenseless demon. Lewin answered that he never hurt one unless they attacked him with intent to end his life. That answer impressed Sasha, who remarked that she admired his restraint in only eliminating demons that threatened his life. When Lewin thanked her for the compliment, Sasha blushed deeply. Sasha was curious and asked if demons and humans were still at war with each other. Lewin confirmed that they did, stating it had always been the way of the world. But Sasha didn't agree. She said maybe she had been asleep for so long that everyone forgot the truth. She told Lewin to listen closely. Sasha said demons and humans weren't always at war. In fact, there was a time when they lived together in peace. Sasha knew this because she helped make that peace long ago. Not everyone liked the idea, but many people and demons were happy to live together. Sasha said, with anger, that she almost made that peaceful world real, until the old hero Tamer sealed her away. Lewin was shocked and asked why the hero would stop her if she was pursuing a noble cause. Sasha guessed it might have been the will of the goddess Elfrifa. Sasha thought maybe the goddess didn't want demons and humans to live peacefully anymore. Lewin didn't find that answer very convincing. He asked Sasha why she still wanted peace between demons and humans if the goddess didn't want it. Sasha said she had her reasons, but more importantly, she wanted Lewin to help her. She said if they worked together, they could defeat the current demon king and make peace happen again. Lewin didn't quite understand her idea, so he asked if she meant they would work together to build a peaceful world for humans and demons. Sasha happily said yes. Then she told him her big plan. She wanted them to gather and lead all humans and demons together, so they could conquer the world together. Lewin laughed at her mentally deranged plan. He asked again, to make sure, if she really meant to build a world where demons and humans wouldn't fight anymore, and that she needed his help. Sasha hesitated, but then said yes, that's exactly what she meant. She also said their teamwork could actually be pretty great. Lewin thought hard and long about her idea. Lewin reasoned that if demons and humans shared the same feelings in their heart, there was no reason they couldn't coexist peacefully. So, he agreed to help Sasha and promised to give her his strength. As a first step, Lewin suggested they build a city where both humans and demons could live. Sasha liked the idea and said they could use her castle. It had big gardens and plenty of land to build homes. However, she cautioned that they needed the cooperation of the other demon kings first. Sasha said there were 7 other demon kings besides her, not counting the current demon king. If they combine all their powers, they would be unstoppable. Lewin wasn't sure they could convince all the demon kings, but Sasha said his demon taming power could help with that. Lewin didn't like that idea. He said he only used taming as a last resort and didn't want to force anyone. Sasha thought his thinking was brain dead. She warned that not all demon kings would be as reasonable as her. Some of them would try to end his life right away. Sasha said taming all of them was the only way their plan would succeed. Lewin saw her point, but he told Sasha clearly, if things didn't work out between them, he would cancel their taming contract. Sasha was shocked to hear this, so she told Lewin that he was nothing like the former demon tamer. Then, they stepped outside the castle. Outside, Lewin proposed they begin immediately by gathering companions to establish their base and then search for the other demon kings. Sasha agreed. But first Sasha insisted that she had to do something first. She cast a massive whirlwind of flame around the castle, and within seconds, the castle vanished. Surprised, Lewin asked if she had created an illusion barrier. Sasha said yes, and then explained she used the same kind of magic on the castle before she was sealed away. That spell had kept the castle safe for years, but because her magic had gotten weaker, the spell had slowly faded. After that, Lewin and Sasha started their journey to build a new world where demons and humans could live together in peace. Meanwhile, far away, deep inside the demon world, the current demon king, Theodora, learned that Sasha, the demon king of death, was alive and tamed. The news of another demon tamer's emergence troubled her, so she immediately ordered her demon army and wyverns to accelerate their plan to release the remaining sealed demon kings. Several days later, deep in a mountain, Chris and his party were in a heated battle with some demons and wyverns. Unfortunately, the demons kept coming at them, which frustrated them to no end. Nevertheless, they pushed through, but the overwhelming numbers of the monsters made the team's defense extremely weak. Suddenly, a Cyclops joined the ranks of monsters attacking them. This further worsened the situation for the team. Moreover, the Cyclops kept evading every one of their attacks and unleashed a powerful spell of his own called the Green Binding Seed Prison. The new monster tamer, who had joined the team after Lewin left, got caught in the spell and yelled for Chris to help. However, Chris, who was also in a tight spot with a wyvern, shouted that he was busy and then asked the dude to sort himself out. The tamer reminded Chris that he couldn't fight because he was only a monster tamer and didn't have any battle skills. This revelation made Chris furious. After all, this was just the third day the new guy had joined the team, and it had been from one complaint to another like an old hag. Regardless, Chris ordered the resident mage Selene to help out the dude. Immediately, Selene summoned Whirlwind and blasted most of the demons away. Meanwhile, the rest of the team continued to struggle against the monsters no matter how hard they tried. This predicament made Chris really pissed. He could not understand what the heck was going on. They were supposed to be the hero's party, yet they found themselves overwhelmed by the demons. To be clear, Chris's team was blessed with immense power. Blynia, even though he was just a monster tamer, had a rare power that let him control monsters. Van, the holy knight in armor, was really good at protecting everyone. Mia was like the team's bodyguard. She stopped enemies and also healed people. Selene, the spirit king, could use many powers by calling on spirits. And Chris, the leader of the team, was known as the Sword Saint. He used the power of light and was amazing at both attacking and defending. Even the lead wyvern, the one in charge of the demons, commended the individual strength of the team but told Chris that as a party, they were all over the place. Chris got angry at this and told the wyvern to shut his filthy. Then, he ran toward the wyvern and tried to slash him with his sword. But it was a trick. The real wyvern was behind Chris. The wyvern grabbed Chris by the neck and slammed his head to the ground. Then the wyvern smugly told Chris that his team was falling apart because Chris didn't know how to lead them in battle. Chris looked at his team and realized the wyvern was right. They really were struggling. Selene suggested they should retreat and leave the fight. Chris immediately disagreed. He insisted that the demons weren't higher than the ones they had been crushing. When all the team members agreed on retreating, Chris shouted, reminding them that he was the hero and he would never run away from any demons. Despite his protests, the rest of the team ignored him and started to leave. Chris got furious, but, realizing he could not take on the demons by himself, he reluctantly agreed they retreat. Chris told them to use the light realm to cover their escape. A bright light filled the whole area, and the demons had to cover their eyes. When the demons saw the team trying to run away, they laughed and made fun of them, calling them spineless cowards. Even so, Chris's team escaped. After they got out, Chris was furious. He punched a wall and shouted at the team, asking how many times they had run away in just a few weeks. The team tried to explain that there were too many demons, but that just made Chris more upset. He said everything had gone wrong ever since the useless new monster tamer joined them. Feeling attacked, Blynia defended himself. He stated that the monsters in there were way more advanced for his skill to tame. Hearing this made Chris even more mad. Chris informed him that Lewin, their former monster tamer, used to tame and weaken advanced-level creatures, to which Blynia replied he had never heard anything like that. Van started thinking deeply. He said he now realized that Lewin had always helped the team. Lewin used to warn them about danger and gave good advice that kept them safe. Furthermore, Van revealed that at crucial moments when they were about to get into trouble, Lewin always gave them sound advice that consistently got them out of a tough spot. Selene jumped in and agreed. She admitted that Lewin had been the person that removed every obstacle they came against as a team, which had helped them to focus on the enemy in front of them. She also noted that Lewin was skilled with weapons, which had helped their defense, and looking back now, it was obvious that Lewin had always been the support they needed from behind the scenes. Chris's ego got bruised, and when he tried arguing that Lewin was only able to give the team support because of the combined strength of the team, Selene said it wasn't true. Selene explained that it was because of Lewin's remarkable support that Chris was even able to become a hero. Selene further stated that even though Chris and Mia were both skilled and powerful, it was all thanks to Lewin who made it possible for them to fully utilize their powers. Selene concluded by informing Chris and Mia that Lewin was helping a great deal, but they just didn't see it. Right away, Chris and Mia got defensive. Mia said Selene was wrong and even lied by saying that Chris didn't kick Lewin out, that Lewin left on his own. Selene was surprised, and when she asked Chris if what Mia said was the truth, Chris could not say a word and began to stutter. Consequently, this made Selene start to suspect something was wrong, and then she informed Chris and Mia that she and Van weren't even told that Lewin had left the party. Chris just stood there and didn't know what to say. Immediately, Selene pointed out that they'd all been friends with Lewin and had known him for a long time. Because of that, she reminded them that Lewin was not the type to give up on something once his mind was made up. At that moment, Chris finally regained his speech. Desperately, Chris joined into Mia's lie and said Lewin had truly left on his own. Chris claimed Lewin had left because he said he had other things to do. Then, Chris quickly changed the subject. He said they shouldn't even be talking about Lewin and should focus on the real problem, which was why they were failing quests over and over again. Chris angrily reminded the team that as the heroes party tasked with defeating the Demon King, if they couldn't manage to take on smaller demons, then their status as the heroes party would be revoked. Van tried to say something, but Chris yelled at him to be quiet and stop bringing up Lewin. Chris said he was tired of talking about Lewin and told everyone to get ready for their next mission. As they left, Chris was still very angry. He hated the fact that the entire team was bowing to Lewin like Lewin was that amazing. To him, Lewin was weak, skillless, and inferior. Meanwhile, in another place, Lewin and Sasha were having a mock battle. Sasha used her whirlwind of flames to attack Lewin, but Lewin dodged it using his sword. Sasha smiled and sent more fire toward him. To defend himself, Lewin awakened his demon gear and whipped out a bow. With this weapon, he fired an arrow straight at Sasha. Alarmed, Sasha saw the incredible speed at which the arrow was fired and got scared. Frantically, she tried to block herself against the attack, but the arrow exploded. The Oracle system explained that it was an explosive arrow that blows up when it hits something. Sasha survived the blast and said it was a cool move, but still just a simple attack to her. For her turn, Sasha used dark magic to make bombs and shot them at Lewin. But Lewin used his blade to absorb all the magic from the bombs. Sasha was shocked to see her magic disappear like that. Confidently, Lewin decided it was his turn, but when he tried lifting his blade, he realized it was super heavy. Astonishingly, the size of the blade had multiplied 100 times, shocking Lewin. As Lewin wondered why his blade was so huge, the Oracle system reminded him of his Blade of Rapture's ability to absorb his opponent's ability, thereby leading to the enlargement of the blade. Sasha saw that Lewin couldn't move his sword and slowly walked toward him with a smirk on her face. But then she tripped and fell, landing right on her cake. As she tried to get up, Lewin warned her never to underestimate him. Then, using all his strength, Lewin started lifting the massive sword behind him. Sasha was frozen in surprise. She couldn't move. She watched as Lewin raised the sword and aimed it at her. Nervously, she asked what he was planning to do. But before she could even move, Lewin slammed the giant sword down on her. The sword hit the ground with so much force that it shattered everything around. Sasha quickly dived out of the way before Lewin's huge sword squashed her into mincemeat. While lying on the ground, she was amazed that Lewin had pulled off such a powerful attack. But instead of giving up, Sasha got even more fired up. She blasted Lewin with a giant ripple vortex, but Lewin quickly fired one of his demon gear arrows right back at her. Sasha was shocked at how fast the arrow flew at her. She tried to stop it with her whirlwind, but it exploded when it hit. Sasha survived, and when she told Lewin the arrow move was really impressive, Lewin admitted that it was hard to aim the arrows just right. However, in the end, Sasha mentioned that even though it was a very tough battle, it still wasn't enough to defeat her. Lewin calmly said that he never planned to beat her head-on. He knew she'd block all his attacks. While he was talking, Sasha noticed something strange in front of her. Another arrow was flying straight at her at blinding speed. She immediately did the Matrix slow-mo move and dodged the attack. The arrow hit the ground instead and exploded. The explosion threw Sasha to the ground, but when she stood back up almost immediately, Lewin commended her on surviving such a surprising attack without a single scratch. Sasha looked at him and noticed Lewin didn't have a bow anymore, so she asked if he had really shot that arrow during their fight. Lewin said yes, he shot it during the first explosion. Lewin explained that he had fired many arrows into the sky, and they were set to hit just behind her all at once. Sasha was shocked and impressed. She told Lewin he was amazing and had gone way beyond what she expected. When she asked what kind of training he had been doing, Lewin started listing all the hard training exercises he had gone through. Sasha told him to stop. She was already impressed. Then Lewin told her it was all thanks to her, because she gave him a new dream to follow. That made Sasha blush and act a little shy. After that, Sasha said their sparring match was over. As they walked on their journey, she told Lewin it was hard to believe someone as skilled and talented as him had been kicked out of the hero's party. She added that whoever kicked him out must have been a complete fool. She said if the team had any brains, they never would have let him go. Lewin was surprised by her words and thanked her, saying that made him feel happy. Not long after, Lewin and Sasha reached the town of Urgu. They went straight into a restaurant to eat. While there, Lewin noticed Sasha eating like a useless thief and told her they were out of money. Sasha was shocked and asked why he didn't have any cash. Before Lewin could answer, she asked if he was one of those poor, miserable people who live a sad life. Lewin got annoyed and told her not to insult him. He reminded her that it was because of her crazy eating habits that all his money was gone. When Sasha asked again if he was really poor, Lewin said he had a good amount of money, but she spent it all by ordering every single thing on the menu. In response, Sasha said it was bad enough that Lewin made her his subordinate, but now he couldn't even feed her. Since they had no money, Sasha suggested they take on a job at the Adventurers Guild. Soon, they arrived at the guild. As they walked in, Sasha commented that this place had taken the lives of many of her demon followers. But Lewin reminded her those demons were the same ones who attacked innocent people.